At 10 o'clock p.m., the lights came on, 5 pale points hanging low above the city, then moving as one. They did not blink like aircraft. They did not trace the slow arc of satellites. For many witnesses, the first impression was of something anchored, deliberate, and utterly out of place. Phoenix, March 13, 1997. Ordinary evening routines, families finishing dinner, bars beginning to fill, commuters winding down. The sky was clear. Street lights hummed. Nothing in the days before suggested that a fragment of the night would not behave like the rest of it. Then the phone calls began, the handful of backyard cameras, the cluster of people pulled into quiet streets to look up. Reports arrive in order. A farmer north of Prescott says a V-shaped object passed overhead. His description emphasizes a solid silhouette against stars and no engine noise. Later that night, over the greater Phoenix Valley, witnesses describe a line of lights stretching across the city, pausing, then moving again. Live television picks up footage, shaky, dark, compressed. But too many independent accounts match in peculiar ways. The lights appeared in formation. They maintained relative spacing for blocks of time, and they cast no visible heat shimmer on the night air. Some viewers speak of a low hum. Others insist on absolute silence. A few report seeing a dark, massive shape between the lights. Most see only the lights themselves. Physical traces are scarce. No debris, no burn marks, no reliable radar record that corroborates all eyewitness paths. Video frames vary. Angles and exposure change apparent size and distance wildly. Police logs show calls clustered across multiple jurisdictions. The governor at the time acknowledged the sightings and later said he had seen a strange craft himself. Military officials initially called it a misidentified aircraft, then pointed to a training exercise involving flares several hours later and miles away. Those two explanations do not sit easily together. Possible explanations are clear and yet incomplete. Training flares dropped on a military range can appear as stationary glowing orbs and were recorded that night. Aerial navigation lights, lens artifacts, and mass misperception can account for some discrepancies. Atmospheric phenomena can distort distance and speed. Witness testimony, however, often describes coordinated motion and a geometry that does not behave like falling pyrotechnics. Radar and air traffic control records are sparse and sometimes contradictory. Some videos show no downward motion at all. Others show slow drifts, consistent with parachute flares. The timelines do not reconcile in every report. Interviews reveal contradictions rather than closure. Two reliable witnesses at the same intersection give different accounts of sound. A military memo explains one set of lights, while stating it cannot account for an earlier sighting north of the city. Analysts who model the flare hypothesis produce maps that overlap with only a subset of eyewitness locations. Photographic frames that seem to show a solid mass are simultaneously dismissed for poor resolution and held up as the strongest physical evidence. The questions multiply. Decades later, the recordings, logs, and testimonies remain in awkward proximity, close enough to suggest a single episode, distant enough to refuse consensus. One readily reproducible fact persists. On a clear night, over a populated metropolitan area, multiple people reported seeing an organized array of lights move and hover in ways that did not fit standard explanations. The file contains statements, grainy footage, a military training schedule, and unresolved gaps. The last entry in the case file is not a conclusion, but a question. How did a formation of lights come to be seen in that pattern, over that city, that night? And why do the best explanations fail to account for all of it?